Hey everybody, Jason Cooper here from Kickstarted the movie, a documentary about crowdfunding that is going to be out later this year. And we're back doing another episode of our ongoing series called Funded Friday, where we talk to one campaign creator who is in the midst of their crowdfunding campaign to ask them about the experience and to learn a little bit about how they did it. And today I am joined by Jacob Heberlie, who joined me last minute, which is awesome. He's running a campaign called Ballpark Diamonds, which is a really cool piece of art that you can buy. Basically, I'm a huge baseball fan, which is what attracted me to it, but you can get a, I'll quote it here, a hand-assembled relief sculpture of your favorite ballpark or stadium that you can hang on your wall. And they're really these like beautiful wood etchings of the top view of a stadium. So welcome, Jacob. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, absolutely. It's awesome. Thanks.
Cool. So let me just ask you quickly to do a better job of telling us what it is that you're doing with Ballpark Diamonds.
Sure. Well, we started a company, well, not even a company, a hobby on opening day this year, and it was involving kind of baseball stadium art, really, kind of an infographic approach. And we're drop shipping those, but we wanted to make something that was more special, kind of like a special object kind of thing. And Ballpark Diamonds came about just from kind of looking at a lot of different baseball art out there. There's minimal stuff, and we just wanted to create a really special object that people would kind of treasure and keep around, because a lot of the stuff that we see out there is just kind of, drop ship posters, which is cool, but we wanted to do something a little more special.
Very cool. And so why did you decide that this was something that belonged? Because you guys had already started a company, were creating things. Right. Why was this a project that you felt belonged on a crowdfunding platform?
Right. Well, yeah, there's a little more upfront when you're not kind of just making posters or whatever. Everybody kind of knows how that works. So for this, I think we kind of needed to validate the idea at a bigger scale to kind of invest that kind of work across a series, and Kickstarter was kind of perfect for that.
Was it something that you knew, like when you started the company, you knew eventually you're going to want to do things that were more than posters? Did you envision going to crowdfunding, or was this like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, let's do that sort of after you had
the so, it was, that idea creeps in there a little bit. I guess it's like whenever you need the funding, right? For what we were doing originally, they were posters, and they were a lot of fun to make. We worked like directly with the fans, and that was really cool. But we didn't really need any help. So this, with like sourcing materials and doing kind of a bigger batch, we wanted to, kind of get some of that higher level, bulk discounts when you're purchasing materials and things like that. So instead of a one-off thing, it's, power of the crowd. And I think that Kickstarter does that really well.
Yeah, and you guys have, I would say, nailed it. For people who aren't looking at it as it's happening right now, you guys still have 28 days to go. And you only had a $5,500 goal, which you have now tripled. They're over $16,000 in sales, 224 backers. And more interestingly, and I think that this is sort of unique, a lot of people will create a campaign and sort of let people buy as many as they can possibly. You guys limited the number of different pieces that you were selling for each of the 5 stadiums that you launched. Right. And why, that's one, why did you make the decision? And 2, are you surprised at how easily you guys have funded and sort of reached, I wouldn't say your maximum, because there are other things that people can buy, but you sort of slowed
Right. It was surprising. I thought after the first day we would get there. But to your point about limiting, I think, one thing that we take really seriously is kind of the commitments that we make, and we want to ship things. So I think, there's so many cautionary tales out there about overscale and then not being able to deliver, and we're already at the point where we're exceeding our expectations and kind of having to rethink some things about how we're going to get this all done. But yeah, I think it's a good reward to have something that is, again, this is a special object, so it's limited, so that kind of entices you to make that first investment, get in early, and then it's kind of cut off, and it's something special. So it may have, there's no way to go back in time and figure out what would have happened if we would have uncapped it. We wanted something that we could control and manage to some extent. So.
And has this sort of, well, let me ask, like, what did you guys do? You had a burgeoning business, but it wasn't really that old. What did you do to drive so many people to the page and to the campaign so quickly?
Right. Well, we tried to build partnerships before, and there's all that moment where you're like, is this going to work? I don't know. Should I push the button? And we tried to work with people as much as we could before, and you try to get that earned media. I think, our big moment was whenever Uncrate picked it up and we got that big earned media and everything sort of spilled out from there. But we had some good sports and baseball kind of people that had a decent following that picked us up as well. So yeah, it's crazy how you're kind of doing all your hard-earned media with friends and family, and then you get to that tipping point. It's pretty cool.
Well, congratulations on the success thus far. Let me ask you then, sort of next question. You mentioned that you started this out of a hobby. I'm assuming that there's an artistic, I don't know what you do for a living, you can tell us, but you have some artistic ambitions and you're succeeding at that. Is any part of you looking at the success that you've had sort of out the gate here and thinking about how can you leverage that to grow or maybe do it full time?
Right. Sure. Well, yeah, the creative thing's definitely there. I've done information design and like kind of data visualization stuff for the last several years. But really, this is kind of a project. It was a hobby before, but we have 3 young kids at home, and my wife just decided to stay home to spend more time with them. So it was almost like kind of innovation to kind of bring some more, cash flow or whatever kind of that some more opportunity into like something that was a little more flexible for my wife and I to run sort of on the side, weekends, nights kind of thing. So that's part of the drive of this whole thing was definitely the love for making this thing. Passion takes you a long way, but yeah, everything was just kind of lining up nicely, and it kind of needed to, so it's good.
So is it a plan you think that you guys will expand on, or you want to keep it as a side sort of hobby?
I don't know. There's definitely scale things that are popping up because of the interest. So we're looking at investment in an actual, like owning the laser cutter instead of outsourcing it, because that's a big cost, and having more control allows us to make an even better product. So we're at the scale now where we're starting to talk about that. And also, we have some things set up, but just different marketing. So yeah, I think there are other people I look at other like online e-commerce shops. I'm not sure we're gonna, scale to like Pop Chart Lab kind of scale, but it's definitely, we promised that we would do the rest of the stadiums, so we're gonna do that, put them out there, and get the pre-orders going at the end of Kickstarter and just see what happens.
Well, then let me sort of ask just the question I like to ask everybody here. What do you think what has been the most difficult part of the crowdfunding experience thus far, and what has been the most enjoyable or rewarding part of the experience?
Right. Well, I'm only on day 3, so I probably don't know the most difficult yet. I'm sure I don't. But so far, I think it's the not knowing, or there's a lot of emotions already, right? Like you ask yourselves, why isn't it happening? And then it starts happening, and then it's just a lot of emotion. So I think trying to just plan for any one route, like we might ease into our goal, or it might double, or we might not make it. And there's all these sort of like backup paths that you plan, like if-then statements, right? So we're kind of at the beginning of that, and it's been really fun so far. So,
what has been, last question as just a baseball,
okay.
what has been the biggest fan base outcry from you guys?
Oh man,
Dodger Stadium? Who's missing that's
right,
about it?
Right. Oh, that's what we're hearing about the most. So it's interesting just to see how they frame it. Like people are passionate about this. Like, why didn't my stadium make the top 5? And we're really seriously considering, releasing some more stadiums. This just being day 3, so limited, just like the other run. So Wrigley's definitely up there. Camden Yards, Yankees fans. Is there one that is your stadium out there, or is there one that you're
It's
interested in?
not. I'm a Reds fan,
Reds
unfortunately.
fan. Oh, yeah, we got the awesome All-Star
Probably not too many of us.
No, I don't know. It's an interesting part too. So, got a lot of publicity. So it's just fun right now. This is kind of good timing because we're hitting playoff season. So, Skydome also, like the Blue Jays, their fans are kind of like last year's Royals fans. So yeah, great bunch of fans out there. They're really cool, passionate people. So it's fun to work with them.
Very cool. Well, for anyone that's still interested, and again, most of the rewards are sold out. There are opportunities to still be involved with the campaign. It's going to be up on Kickstarter through September 25th. And again, it's called Ballpark Diamonds. Thank you, Jacob, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. This again has been Funded Friday. We'll see you next week, everybody.